The grand jury trial indicted L'Jarius Sneed for failure to report the crime to the police officers, and I guess in a timely manner, which can be up to 1 year in jail, a $4,000 fine, or both. It could be one or the other, or both of those.
Right.
So we don't know what it's going to be yet, but he has been found guilty on that. And
I have a question. I know you're not a lawyer, but I have questions.
I play one on TV.
But if he wasn't part of the crime, he was just sitting there and saw the crime. So it's up to him to report. I don't know. I've never been in like that type of trouble.
Not only does he have to report it, but to be honest with you, and I just learned this over the weekend, but there's also something called felony murder. If that guy would have died, they could easily indict and charge. And I don't know Texas's rules, so let me just say that Texas may not be a big felony murder state, but they could actually charge L'Jarius Sneed for being in the car, even though he didn't shoot the gun, or he didn't do this or that, and charge him with felony murder, which can carry up to like 50 to 60 years in prison. And it's a fairly easy indictment because felony murder is, and this is what I learned on a show. So just not like I learned it on a news show, not on something else. But so it's a failure to report because you saw a crime. I believe it's pretty much like your civic duty to do it anyway.
Oh, so he didn't do a civic duty to actually report what happened.
What happened?
That because I thought it was more of, but to me, then his lawyer should have done that. Or told him to do it, or now they're going back saying you didn't do it.
It's failure to report a felony where a reasonable person would have believed serious bodily harm or death may have resulted.
Oh. So I thought they said something different on Buck's show. He was talking about he was failure to do it in the Dallas court, and he didn't report it in the Dallas court. That was what was done this time. I didn't know.
I can only read what is reported right here, and this is the very first line of what PK said.
Okay.
A grand jury indicted Titans cornerback L'Jarius Sneed on Tuesday in Dallas County, Texas, for the failure to report a felony.
That's what I said, report.
Where a reasonable person would have believed seriously bodily harm or death may have resulted. So if you think, because he doesn't know what happened after the gunshots were fired, right? Mm-hmm. So a reasonable person would think, I better call this in.
Why did it take so long for him to do that? Not him, but the court.
Well, you got to find the grand jury. There's probably negotiations to plea bargain, plea deal, maybe turn on someone or flip on someone, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know why it took this long, but I mean,
has this been a year and
getting close? It was a year in December because it happened in December of last year, 2024. If my memory serves, so coming close to a year. I mean, we're not that far off.
I thought because I didn't think it happened during the season. So
it happened in December during the season.
Did? Okay.
Now, we first heard about it in the middle of the summer,
okay,
but apparently it happened in December.
Got you.
Now, it was December 6, 2024, so I just scrolled down on the thing. So it was December. So coming up on a year. So it was just the failure to report the crime. But the question really comes down to it. Do you think, I know he's injured, but he could come off in a couple of games off IR. Do you think he's already played his last snap for the Tennessee Titans, including this year?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know the system. That'd be something the Titans will consider.
I'm just talking about from a Titans perspective, not the court systems or what they may do. Obviously, if they throw him in jail.
Here's what comes to my mind first when I hear all of this from you is this a way for the Titans to get out of this contract and guarantee money? That's the first thing I think.
I think maybe there is probably, you're onto something, right? Because I know that this would technically, I'm not sure. I don't know the full extent of the NFL code of conduct.
Yeah.
But if it violates the code of conduct, you should be able to get out of a contract early. But I think there has to be some suspension or punishment from the NFL, but I'm just not technically sure on that. But this is step one, right? Mm-hmm. You got a full indictment. What is the NFL going to do about it?
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Any lawyer who wants to call in this may be listening. You can call and give us some help there on the legal side of it. But that's gonna be interesting. I don't know where the code of conduct, which you're exactly right on that, where it fits in there. But now it's getting serious to me. Yeah.
And you just wonder, you got all these young players you want to see more from. L'Jarius Sneed was obviously more than likely, I think we can all agree, not going to be in their plans next year. So you could always just keep them on IR. You don't have to take them off, right? Unless you feel like you really need them. But it does kind of feel like to me, not necessarily
He's the
just
only
this.
quarterback that's under contract for next year.
Yeah, but I think they're going to cut him.
Well, no.
Yeah.
But that means that nobody.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we could definitely get into.
Has that ever, there's no
You would
quarterback.
have Marcus Harris. I
Oh,
believe is the only guy
he's a
that's
rookie,
actually on contract next
you're
year.
right.
But that's 1 6th-round pick next year. So, I mean, we already know the Tennessee Titans have a long remodel ahead of them. But I do wonder at this point, I just feel like this is probably if you had any doubts that he was actually going to play anyway because of the injury, because I kind of
Are you
had
talking
doubts.
about the rest of the season?
The rest of the season, I kind of feel like, maybe it's just, it's just not going to be in the cards for him.
Well, see, I look at the total opposite. And when I say that is if they can't get out of the contract, this is if I'm sitting on the Titan side of this, then he is definitely playing. He's not making free money sitting on the sideline. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we're going to get every bit of inch out of you and play because this may go in a different direction. And guess what? We're probably moving on anyway. So you got a lot invested into this as well.
Run them into the ground, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, no different. Yeah, if they can't get out of the contract, then I'm going to play him as soon as he's healthy. Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't have a lot of options.
Well, that's true.
That's another reason. There are not a lot of places to go with the guys that got on the team. Unless they just decide the last 4 weeks, we're going to play all young guys that we put up on the practice squad. And
they're pretty much doing that now, so they're not even waiting. I mean, I know that their hands are tied,
right?
But in the same sense, they're kind of already doing that, right? They're playing a bunch of young guys.
Yeah, but I mean guys that you need to see a lot for. I just feel like they already shorthanded at corner.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I would throw him out there. He's not going to sit at home and make money. That's not going to happen.
So you're kind of really probably secretly hoping for a suspension is what you're really hoping for. If you're the Titans, you're really, if you're the organization, the front office, that's what you're really hoping for.
There you go.
You're really hoping for that. But if you don't get that, you might as well, play what you got left on that contract.
Yeah. There's a term that they use, you're a commodity, and they're going to use you until they can't.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to be. And that's on the other end. And the players understand it, especially veteran players.
Right.
So if they can't get out of contract, you got to play him. As soon as he's healthy, he's out there.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, it'll be real interesting to see where the Titans go with this, where the NFL goes with it, right? Because, we talk about one thing is just the team's perspective, but really the NFL, and listen, this grand jury indictment, depending on what the evidence is or anything, they may choose to go with 1 year in jail, right? They may not choose the $4,000 fine. They may choose both. Who knows? So we'll have to see what they do. But I do think this presents a opportunity for the Tennessee Titans to maybe recoup or get out of some of the money that would have been there if it was dead money. See, that's the thing I'm thinking about is that not only can they get a contract off the books, but next year when we knew they were going to get the contract off the books, they may not have to worry about dead money tied to it. And so they may get even more money off the books, an even more enticing situation for the Tennessee Titans that we're going to cut them, but extra added bonus is what I kind of look at it like. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about your discussion with Chad from Hendersonville yesterday, because I got my own opinions on that. Of course, we'll have Coach Mack at 2:20 p.m. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard, Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay though.
All right. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the conversation. Okay. So y'all had a very good discussion on what if you had your fan cap on, which is how Joseph, who filled in very nicely for me, said, what do you feel you want to see from this Tennessee Titans team? Do you want to see them get draft pick, or do you want to see them win games? And I'll just say this.
At the end of the season, the rest of the season.
The rest of the season.
You look like you got some sort of fan cap on. Those headphones are throwing me off.
Yeah.
They look really big on you.
They're massive headphones. So here's where I'm at. If you're a true fan, you want them to win games. I don't understand this. Like, I think this is utterly ridiculous that we're reaching all the way back to the Peyton Manning years, which, by the way, Chad from Hendersonville totally misunderstood what you guys were trying to say.
What I said.
Yeah, and then, but he also argues against his case while he's trying to make the same case. Like, that was a terrible example, by the way. But at the end of the day, you know what winning games means if you're the Tennessee Titans? Cam Ward is playing well. Generally,
but
that's
the general
what it should
fan
mean.
doesn't know that. And see, that's where everybody's missing the boat. They're just watching. Guess what they're doing? Is he playing better than Dart? How many people in the country you think saying Dart playing better than Cam Ward?
I'd say about almost all of them.
Even the national media.
Yeah.
Not just fans.
Right.
National media.
Yeah. I'm with you. Fans would say it too.
Right. I know. I know. But I mean, so I think that's where it comes from. And, it's really hard to, sit down and try to explain, how he is improving at the same time
that you're losing.
Right. And that is hard to grasp. I get it. And so that's why I was laughing, because he was so passionate about it. And I know people who are fans, myself personally, that feel the same way.
Oh, yeah.
And are actually football knowledgeable.
Yeah.
They don't like his footwork. They don't even like his angle throws. I mean, I don't care about all that stuff. He's to get the job done. Now, everybody's going to be a different style of quarterback, any position, really. And they just think that he's not the dude. And I go, I see signs that he can be the dude. Now, am I happy with some of the things I think fundamentally as a quarterback that he hasn't perfected yet? Oh, there are a few things. Yeah, absolutely. But some of those throws, I don't even think Peyton Manning would advise to throw, and he's making them and doing a pretty good job. So, and he doesn't have the pieces around him, a supporting cast that he needs to be successful.
And even the GM said so, right? And just this last press conference, he says he looks like a rookie quarterback on a team that just had the first overall pick in the draft.
Right.
Everybody wanted to comp him to Patrick Mahomes.
But you see him drop balls.
Right.
In the pocket. Nobody forced him.
Right.
So some of these things fans get upset about, and they go, no, we got to get, and then the game changes after that happens.
Right. For me, it's that you got the guy that you at least need to ride with for 2 more seasons on top of this one.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, to evaluate him, yes.
What is better for your first round pick? Draft another quarterback or draft a player to either complement the quarterback on offense or complement the quarterback on defense?
Well, just to be on the other side of this.
Yeah.
If he's a higher rated player, aren't you trying to improve the roster at every position?
You are, but I will say
this. Then you would go, what's the priority list of positions of need?
Right.
Quarterback is not
they
up.
Typically say you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's what the scouts will tell you. No, we trying to improve every position.
Right.
And we got to prioritize what we need.
I would be very surprised in this particular draft class, the Tennessee Titans board stacked up in a way where quarterback is the best available player for them, because I think there's guys Caleb.
It's not.
Yeah, I know that's what I know. You're playing devil's advocate, but that's just where I land. Is at this point, I'll be quite honest. I know that everybody's really high on Fernando Mendoza, and if you guys may not remember, I've talked about Fernando Mendoza before this year, just touching on
what
it.
he did last year,
and I think he's played really well. But Ty Simpson is going to be the better pro quarterback prospect.
Yep, I would say
he's the guy that's got the elite prospecting or processing skills and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, Fernando Mendoza is probably closer to Jackson Dart than he is Cam Ward in terms of a prospect. Now, Ty Simpson may be the better prospect than Cam Ward. I'd be willing to concede that maybe he is.
Better athlete, all of the above.
But the point for me is that you have invested in a quarterback now. Now it's time to invest around the quarterback.
Exactly.
And for what Chad in Hendersonville is trying to bring up and what you also said, because when he said that, that's when I landed. Oh. And that's the first segment the first thing I heard was that conversation.
I knew it was going to happen.
And I go, and I'm screaming at the radio like you were screaming after, is like, then you wouldn't have kept Peyton Manning. You would have drafted a quarterback the next year. Yeah. But you know what happened? They drafted fourth. And you know what they got for Peyton Manning? Edgerrin James, a Hall of Fame running back with the fourth overall pick. There are still good players at fourth overall. And especially because the teams that are likely to be ahead of you, like in that draft, all draft quarterbacks, more than likely. So you're still getting the best player available, even if it's not a quarterback. So it shouldn't really matter. What matters is this young team that's going to be here next year, learning how to win, and winning some games and boosting confidence and having some kind of positive momentum going into next year. Because right now, Buck said it a couple of days, last time we were on the pregame show, they're losers. And that doesn't mean they have to stay that way. And this fan base wants this team to tank for the off chance that someone may trade with you. Maybe they don't. You know, like
that's what I was saying. I don't.
It's just not automatic. Remember when the Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence, then went back and drafted Trayvon Walker? Nobody traded up with them. You never know what's really going to happen until someone gets really desperate, and we won't know. It's not a guarantee.
There's more options. We see at least two we're talking about, but it may be even more quarterbacks in that list. Other people will say, hey, I'm not going to trade. If I can't get the second pick, then I'm just going to draft another player. They just don't know.
There's just not a guarantee you get the first. There's not a guarantee that you get the first overall pick, even if you lose out. Oh, I guess it is at this point. But if you were to win one more game, it's still not a guarantee you get the first overall pick. And then even if you get the first overall pick, everybody knows you really don't need a quarterback, and you could try to sell and try to change that all you want with leaking narratives out there and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you're not guaranteed a trade back. And I think people think that you could just trade back no matter what every year. And listen, I'm typically team trade back. But at this point, I'm more of, I need team positive momentum. I need to see some wins from this team, because that technically would mean that not only do you see Cam Ward improving, you see Chimere Dike improving, Alec Iamanair improving. Maybe some of these young defenders are stepping up in big time slots. Like
you didn't say Femi.
Well, Femi's, I don't even know. Fractured femur, I don't know. Like if he's ever really going to come back.
Oh, he's coming back next year for sure.
Well, yeah, next year. But you're not going to, that's not going to help you this year.
Yeah.
So to me, even if, let's say this, what if you just lose 30-31, like Knocktrop in here puts? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing. I just want to see points. I want to see improvement. And sometimes that improvement is going to lead to wins. Because you see it all the time in the NFL where a team upsets a different team.
I said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm with you.
I want to see improvement. Hey, if you win, great. If you don't, I got to see these young players you invested in that are out there now, see them improving, then see some younger guys who still aren't playing, give them more playing time and see what happens. So we'll get to see what Winston's doing and Harris doing and all the other guys who haven't played a lot, whether, because of their opportunity or because of an injury. So, yeah, that's all you can ask for at this point in time, because you're a developing team.
Yeah.
That's where we're at this point. So hopefully then going into their next year, they understand what they're up against and now what they need to work on and see how much work they put in to get better. That doesn't mean they're going to be superstars, but they're going to be quality starters in this league. And those guys end up playing longer than most. And then you add some superstars to those good, solid players, your foundational pieces. Then you take off, and then you hope your quarterback at the same time now has developed and with better pieces. And he's already where he needs to be. That's the hope. That's the plan.
And hopefully, if that leads you to wins, that leads you to wins. If it leads you to losses, it leads you to losses. But you want to see the improvement. And I just think in the NFL, that's when you start seeing improvement is when you start winning some games because you're competitive. And we've seen this team yet to put it together for a full 4 quarters. And I'm talking about not just the offense, the defense as well, and special teams, playing full complementary football. But you want to see that at some point, and that's likely going to lead you to a win.
Well, that's what, I think to put it in the simplest way possible for fans, and this is what we're kind of saying is let's use hypothetical numbers 1 and 4. I think the difference between having 4 wins as opposed to 1 win is a bigger difference than having the number 4 pick as opposed to the number 1 pick. You're drafting top 5, which is what we're going to be drafting. You're still getting a really good player if you're picking at that spot.
Right.
We don't need a quarterback, so that takes out the trade factor, right, from having the number 1 pick. The difference from having 1 win as opposed to 4 at the end of the season, like Blaine and you were saying, Zach, it's huge because you know that the team's growing and improving. We have a lot of money to spend this offseason as well that we can spend. We were kind of talking about this before the show. It doesn't have to be a 3 to 4 year rebuild if they kind of manage the situation right.
Yeah, for me, it's if Cam Ward's improving and that leads to some wins, maybe your rebuild speeds up faster because the rebuild's going to go as quickly as Cam Ward goes. And I know that they're going to have a totally new offense, or more than likely a totally new offense and all that. But if he can show some signs and growth to have consistent NFL play, and it's not always going to be constantly consistent. He is a rookie on a bad team. But if you see growth from J.C. Latham, right, as the season goes on, if he gets healthier and healthier, removed from the injury, there's another building block. If you see Gunnar Helm get involved and all this stuff, Kevin Winston Jr., Cedric Gray stays improving or at least on the same pace that he is now. Jeffrey Simmons comes back from injury and he's exactly who he was when he left. All of that matters when you talk about 2026. And I understand the idea. Listen, I know that if they get the number 1 overall pick, they want to trade back. Heck, if they get the 5th overall pick, they want to trade back. But doesn't mean you automatically get the trade back. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter where you're at. You're not guaranteed the trade back. So give me the guarantee of improving upon Cam Ward and this young group of players on next year and give them some wins, some deserved wins for the hard work that they are putting in and week out.
Yeah, there's nothing more to say. I mean, yeah, we said all those things before. So, I mean, yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, you're rebuilding. But I don't think it's going to be as long as people think.
Yeah.
If you make the right moves, he did this past season with all the young players, and they're playing up to their level, at least as rookies. So, yeah, I really think with the right free agency and then, drafting, I think you can do it in 2 years, and right when the stadium opens.
Yeah.
I still believe that, yeah.
I mean, that's...
Cam Ward will be the caveat that has to improve, and how quickly he takes on whoever the offensive coordinator in the new offense will be a determining factor. I mean, because there's going to be people going to say, well, he's really a rookie again because he's in a new offense. See, that is going to happen, so you have to prepare for that.
Yeah.
And think he's going to make some mistakes that you think he shouldn't make as a second-year player.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a excellent point, is that there's going to be some growing pains in a new offense. You hope, though, that those growing pains are ironed out as much as possible, but they're never going to be completely ironed out probably through the first 3 or 4 weeks of a season, because not only is he going to be working through growing pains, the offensive line is going to be working through growing pains. There'll be a new offensive system for the wide receivers, too. And this is a relatively young team. It's a dedicated team. From what we hear, the core players that we think will be here next year. Mm-hmm. So you hope that speeds up the process. But to your point, free agency and Mike Bergonzi, I think it is a mixed bag. I don't think it was all terrible. But, I mean, Kevin Zeitler doesn't look that great. Draymond Jones started looking good, but they end up trading him, which is technically, that's probably a good trade-off, right? He wasn't going to be here next year. You got some good production out of him, good enough where you can get a 5th, maybe a 4th round pick if things go in your favor, right? So there are some situations here. Cody Barton is a very up and down roller coaster week to week. Sometimes you get pretty good Cody Barton. Sometimes you get pretty bad Cody Barton. But they didn't spend a lot on those guys. Dan Moore.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I mean,
you sounded like this guy right here,
man.
Yeah,
like jack-o'-lantern over there. I mean, that's what it feels like. Like, I mean, Dan Moore, sometimes he looks good, sometimes he doesn't, and here comes Myles Garrett, who's going to make him look really bad.
I think I could play like how you said there, at free safety and just stay out of the way and just get everybody lined up and make some checks. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing about the Cam thing real quick? Just for the people that are wanting to move on from him, if there are a lot out there. I know the Peyton Manning example, like Chad used yesterday, is always the top one. Obviously, that's kind of outdated now. But just look in recent years, and I'm not saying Stroud and Jaden Daniels are bad quarterbacks, but C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels had two of the best rookie QB seasons we've seen in a long time. Did they have great second years? I mean, Jaden's in the middle of it right now, and he's hurt, but he hasn't had a great year. Stroud didn't have a great second year. On the other hand, you got a guy like Drake May, who is probably in the top 3 in the MVP discussion. He wasn't talked about that much last year because of Jaden Daniels. Look at him right now. You think fans are upset about his rookie year anymore? No. Caleb Williams wasn't talked about like that either. He had a fine rookie year.
I'm sure there were a lot of Bears fans.
That was Bo Nix first year.
Yeah. Bo Nix was fine.
He was talked about. It was him and Jaden because they made the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But you see now.
Winning cures everything.
Yeah. Who's the best one right now out of all 4 of them? Drake May, probably.
Well, that's what it is, right? The winning skews, I think, the view of the player because everybody thinks QB wins are a stat. And I know both of us all disagree, or all 3 of us disagree on that quarterback wins are a stat because it's such a team sport. But that's what they do, right? Like you have the winning quarterbacks, and well, they're winning because of the great quarterbacks. They're also winning because of the supporting cast around them is living up to their end of the deal too in certain situations. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels and the work that they have put in and done, but also you kind of look at Bo Nix, right? Bo Nix had an elite defense last year, Sean Payton as his head coach, and he looked pretty good last year. And then you have Caleb Williams, who looked technically, if you just looked at their stats, pretty similar, but because they were losing, everybody hates Caleb Williams. Because he was getting sacked, everybody hates Caleb Williams. I mean, I'm sure Chicago Bears fans were having similar discussions to what we was starting to have yesterday, where they're like, well, Caleb Williams is a bust. I'm sure they were having these discussions last year, and I bet they're like, well, we got Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams looks pretty good. I guess he's not a bust. Like, where are those guys now?
Well, like Bo Nix, they're still 8-2 right now, right?
Right.
And they made the playoffs last year. Would any of us say that they're winning because of Bo Nix right now?
No.
So, I mean, it's just you can't give up on a guy after one season or after half of a season.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, I just think we have to be a little bit more patient. And I think this staff, this front office staff, recognizes that based on what we heard. And we've heard them say before, about your third year is when you really figure out what a rookie is and what a rookie isn't, third year. And that obviously is not a catch-all, end-all, thing you can apply to every rookie. But I think you pretty much have a good bearing of where to go. And we're still in the middle of the first year for Cam Ward. And I'm very anxious to see how much the bye week helps, not just Cam Ward, but a lot of these players, catch their bearings. Because you got to remember, Guy Manners played a lot of snaps too. He is a rookie. Chimere Dike's taking a beating. He's a rookie. These guys are a little bit refreshed. What does this offense do now that it's maybe the staff has had a little time to self-scout and change and tweak some things? We'll see. But again, I just don't understand this idea that A, you want to go ahead and give up on the guy you just drafted, and B, that you, as number 1 overall, by the way, and B, if you get the number 1 overall pick, that you wanted to entertain drafting a quarterback.
I mean, what does that say about the organization? Then that's Bergonzi, too, if he drafted another quarterback or got even another quarterback later in the first round if they trade back or in the second round. Now they're saying that you made a mistake. Mm-hmm. Now you put your own job on the line.
And I don't think that they feel that way, right?
No,
and they just did that with Will Levis and then drafted Cam Ward.
Yeah. And of course, Mike Bergonzi did not draft Will Levis.
Right.
And so there's a huge difference there too. I mean, Brian Callahan didn't either, but at the end of the day, you look at it and you're like, I just don't see why everybody's so up in arms just quite yet. Obviously, we still need to see improvement, right? We're not saying that Cam Ward has played like Jaden Daniels.
Oh, no. We all know that.
Yeah, he has not. He's had a very up and down and more downs than up rookie year. But that's okay for a quarterback to have. I mean, again, to the point of Chad last year or yesterday, you go to Peyton Manning's rookie year. I mean, by those standards, you wouldn't have had Peyton Manning the next year. You would have drafted another quarterback at 4th overall.
That was the funniest part. Blaine was saying, yeah, so you would draft a QB next after Peyton's rookie year. And he was like, no, they took Peyton over Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. But he wasn't getting. He was using Blaine was using the example, and that's why I was screaming in the car. It's like, but you wouldn't have Peyton Manning next year.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it was about everything around them too. I mean, then they got the 2 receivers, and then they had Dallas Clark. I mean, they had weapons all over the place. And all of a sudden, the offense opened up, and whoop, there you go. So hopefully that'll work the same for the Titans.
Well, they went 3-13 that year, and the next year they went 13-3.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning's second year. The year after he threw set the record for most interceptions thrown by a rookie quarterback. The year after that, they went 13-3. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for the Tennessee Titans.
Why not?
Well, they would be 13-4. But no, I'm just saying that when you look at it, guys, this is the reason why you don't see it happen a lot in the NFL is because it just is insane to do.
Nobody's ever drafted a quarterback back-to-back years with the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
That we looked that up. Nobody's ever done it. Now they've drafted a quarterback in the first round, but later in the first round.
Which is probably like 4 or 5 times,
but the only modern example was Josh Rosen and Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and Josh Rosen was a totally different quarterback as far as
but he
personality-wise, I would say. But yes, he did go first round. And remember, everybody thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and he fell all the way to 12th, I guess, that year. Yeah, but still,
these people.
But that's why it never. There's a reason why it never happens in the NFL.
These fans, though, will look at Cam's stats and be like, "Well, see, that's just like Josh Rosen."
Yeah, let me say something. If you think Cam Ward is just like Josh Rosen, I don't know which one you didn't watch, but you didn't watch one of those quarterbacks. Because they are nothing alike, and I don't think Josh Rosen has as many throws as Cam Ward does that makes you say, "Whoa, wow!"
No, there was no. Yeah, I remember watching him because he was kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know if he's a first round pick." When I kept watching him, and then when he got in the game, once he got drafted, I said, "Oh, they're in trouble." He had the bones. You knew right off the bat if you watched a full game, like, I don't know about this.
Rosen didn't have that mentality.
Throws, but he didn't have a strong, big arm. I mean, he didn't have a lot of the qualities you need to be successful. It was unfortunate. I mean, was he one and done or no? It gave him 2 years? I know he wasn't starting, but how long did he actually stay on the team?
Because they traded him sometime at that Arizona
Dolphins
year.
At one point, I believe, Miami.
Okay, they traded him the next year?
Yeah, they did. They traded him, I guess, before the season started to Miami.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was 0-3 there. Oof.
Yeah.
Let me say something. You guys just did not watch Josh Rosen play. That's what that tells me. When people say, well, Cam Ward and Josh Rosen are the same quarterback, you just admit that you've never seen Josh Rosen play football in the NFL. It's entirely 2 different quarterbacks. When you watch Josh Rosen play, you just knew this guy was not good.
Watch this. This is how you
whatsoever.
Really know. I would have taken Braden Allen before him.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you on that. All right, coming up next, we'll continue our discussion about the Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
It was once said, do all the good you can, by all means you can, in all ways you can, in all places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. That's what owner Aaron Stokes has tried to do for over a quarter century. Hi, folks, it's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix, and Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer pricing. But what sets Eurofix apart isn't just price. It's a deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck. And Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can actually sit down and relax in nice and clean areas. Plus a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection to share with you what's going on with your vehicle. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repair work performed. And rental cars are available at all appointments, hopefully, as long as they're not gone. But we have 5 locations in the whole state of Tennessee: Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And we've been talking a lot about, what's better for the team, the draft pick. Is it better for them to have some wins under their belt? But I want to go back to something that Mike Bergonzi kind of said, and the way I interpret it and the way that you interpret it when we were talking off air, Blaine, was that really feels like he's saying Matt Nagy's name without saying Matt Nagy's name. Because he brings up the Kansas City Chiefs a lot. Now, listen, that is his only NFL experience, has only been with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Moving up the ranks at Kansas City.
Yeah, moving up the ranks. And he's moved up the ranks from scouting all the way up to football operations and assistant GM. He's been there since 2009, worked his way all the way up to assistant GM for years. But if it really sounds like the way that he wants to do things, I know we talk a lot about the Ron Wolf method, which is something they've employed at Kansas City, but who better to help you with what you want this team to look like, with your vision for this team, more so than a guy that exactly kind of feels the same way you do, for the most part, you would think, on how to build a team, and Matt Nagy. And because he talks about working relationships, he brings up, instilling the same kind of work ethic and all that kind of stuff that Kelsey and Mahomes had and all this stuff. And a guy that can help you get there and achieve that vision is likely a guy that has worked in that vision. And I'm not saying that that's my preferred choice or anything, as we've had this discussion already. I get called a Nagy fanboy. I'm just saying, based on their wording, I would be very surprised if it wasn't Nagy, because also Mike Bergonzi has interviewed for general manager a lot, and he's probably had Matt Nagy, more than likely, according to Rossini and James Palmer. They've alluded to the fact that when Bergonzi goes on these interviews, he's had Nagy on his short list for head coaches if there was a head coaching position opening. So you would think that he would be on his short list coming up next. Now, that does not mean they shouldn't catch the white surge.
Spagnuolo was on the Chiefs. My DC, who was my DB coach, by the way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, though, because you look at what the Giants are talking about. They're talking about Spags, Antonio Pierce. They're talking about Lou Anarumo. Guys that have had connections to the Giants in some form or fashion along the way. And relationships like that matter. And I know nobody wants to hear it, and everybody thinks I'm overestimating the importance of working relationships.
Or he's throwing us a curveball.
Maybe he is throwing us a curveball.
He got the 2-finger curveball.
Listen. If it's if it's not Nagy, I would be very surprised. If it's not Nagy because you went with Robert Saleh or Mike McCarthy or Cliff Kingsbury or some other name that is probably held in very high regard, that's fine. I'm just saying that I think the likeliest path has been described to us as Matt Nagy by the general manager.
There is no other guy. Well, we named Spags, but who else was on?
Maybe Mike Kafka could be a guy.
Oh,
Brian Daboll was. Yeah, Mike Kafka was the quarterback's coach and sat on the bench with Patrick Mahomes a lot his rookie year. So that could be a guy. So let's see what Mike Kafka does these next final half of the week. I haven't been a big fan of Kafka's. I don't know if he's truly ready, but now he's going to have the experience of being a head coach and being a play caller, because he's going to keep calling the plays, Blaine. So he's going to be head coach and play caller. So
we're not going to. I mean, you got to be doing it for more than 1 year, or half of a season.
Yeah,
yeah. Please don't do that. That's a risk we can't take.
Yeah, but it will just be very interesting in my mind. I think that if you were to see betting odds, Matt Nagy would be clearly the favorite in Vegas.
You think it is? Is that what it is now?
Oh, I don't know what it is. I haven't looked him up, but I would just assume, if I was making the odds based on what Mike Bergonzi has said and reading between the lines of general manager speak, it sounds like to me he's really leaning towards Matt Nagy.
One thing I'm hearing you say, and a lot of, I guess, media I don't know if I'm taking it out of context, is like the GM builds the culture.
I don't necessarily believe that.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, because I've asked you about this.
And I'm like, now the GM builds the roster, the actual coach head coach is building the culture.
But that doesn't seem like what they're doing here.
No, that doesn't seem what Bergonzi's doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I've never heard it because the GM, is not seen very much at all in the locker room or in the building, in the meetings or anything until you're on the field and you just happen to see the GM, standing there on the sideline or behind the offense or the defense. And so they really don't have a, way with words with any of the players, throughout general conversation.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure people don't get confused on who actually builds the culture compared to who actually picks the players.
See, that to me, though, I agree with you.
He can bring in players that fit a type of style of culture, but that doesn't. You're not going to always get all those players right. It's just no different than you evaluating a player. You're not going to always get get it right. So I get a little confused. I mean, I think. But it seems as though he building the culture, and I'm like, whoa, that's different.
When Jarvis Brownlee Jr. initially got traded, and they were up there answering all those questions, the next day I came in here and I asked you, I said, maybe I'm reading too much into it, and again, I've never been in the NFL locker room, and I asked you, I go, does the general manager or should the general manager be the one building the culture? And you said no, it's the culture, the players and the coaches. And I agree, because that's what I thought.
Yeah, well,
but that's not how it feels like they're going.
Things could be different. People have different ways, but to me, it's hard to build culture when you don't have a voice and you're not standing in front of the team at any point in time.
Yeah,
and that hasn't changed.
Right.
The GM's not standing in front of the team.
Yeah, the only time he's standing in front of the team that we're aware of is he's standing in front of the team tell them Brian Callahan got fired.
Right, at the presser.
Yeah.
Watch this. There was not one time Floyd Reese stood in front of the team.
Yeah.
The GM.
It feels like
the late great Floyd Reese, by the way.
Maybe we are reading too much into what he's saying, but it seems like he has an idea of what he wants this team to look like and the kind of players he wants this team to have.
Now, he could say that, and he could say that that's a form
that's what he's
building
doing.
Culture.
Yeah.
But to actually build the culture, the actual head coach and the assistant coaches have to build that along with the leadership group of
because they're the ones who are going to be when they're in the middle of a game and they're down by 10 points.
And where's the GM?
That's where the culture comes.
Where's the GM?
He's up in the booth.
Right. So he picks the players. That is part of building the culture, but ultimately it has to be done by the coaches and the players.
It just feels like that's not how they're kind of doing it, or at least maybe they didn't have the leadership in place in the locker room.
Well, he did say that.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. They didn't have the leadership from a coaching perspective to really build anything relevant
well, he
to
said,
culture.
And veteran players, this was his reason behind the trade of Brownlee.
Which I still do not agree with, by the way.
I just didn't understand what he said.
I get his rationale. I just don't agree with his rationale. And I think it's ridiculous that they're still trying to put this thing out there that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is not an accountable person. And I just don't agree with it.
Did you see the emoji eyeballs that Brownlee posted?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are you
I had people send that to me in a chat and say, we'll see. Looks like Bergonzi has a point. What, he tweeted?
I think he was saying, what are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
What?
Let's talk more about the culture, and we'll also go to Jay in Murfreesboro and coming up next. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. The Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports in Kentucky Downs. All right, let's go to the phone, 615-737-1045. Let's go to Jay in Murfreesboro. Jay, turn your radio down, please. All right.
All right.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm just calling, like, I don't know if some of these people, fans or whatever, just started, being fans of sports yesterday, because that's just part of, being a fan. I've been day one since the Titans are here. I mean, yeah, it does suck to lose, but, everybody, if you remember, I think Steve was on the bench for, 2 years? He started playing. He wasn't that great when his first, full season.
Yeah.
And then by the time, they got the stadium, we was up to par, is one of the best teams in the league. I ain't saying it's going to go that way, but, you just got to give it time. He don't got nobody protecting him.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I agree. There's so many examples of bad quarterbacks to rookie year who end up being really good quarterbacks later down the road. Now, maybe sometimes it takes them skipping around from team to team. Sometimes it's with the team that drafted them. Sometimes it's immediately in year 2 with a new coach. Sometimes it's in year 3. But at the same, because development is not linear for quarterbacks. Have we not learned that over the last at least 10 years? I would say most of our listeners can at least remember the last 10 years of football. It's just not linear, never has been for quarterbacks. And I don't understand why I understand why, because we're in this society where instant gratification has to come.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
He talked about McNair. And nobody gets to sit for 2 years now and then learn.
You could argue that's
way.
what hurt Anthony Richardson's development.
Right. Yeah. And, because some quarterbacks are able to go out there and it translate quicker than others. So, yeah, it's in this case, I just think he needs better players around him. I think we could see at least a little bit better in him. But the unforced errors, I'm definitely with. You can't be just dropping the ball and fumbling and then not throwing the ball out of bounds. Just these fundamental things that you got to learn to play in the NFL. And I said when we drafted him, he's not going to be able to get out of all these things that he didn't run around like he did in college because he's not that kind of athlete. He is not that. He is not Anthony Richardson. We could talk about he's not on that level. Dart's a better athlete than him. I said that then, and I'm saying it now.
It's kind of coming back to hunt Jackson Dart right now. Holy crap.
What was my reason saying that I like Cam Ward over? Because Cam Ward reminds me, his style is like Joe Burrow. I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow,
right.
But guess what? He's not a runner. I don't want my quarterback to be a runner because he's going to get knocked the bleeped out because I know how I would run around and hit people. I know how the NFL is, and I know what they do. And now they're bigger, stronger, faster. So what do you think they're going to do to your quarterback? Quarterback already Dart has 4 concussions. Like, really? And
That's
some
insane.
people say that's why Brian Daboll got fired. And I'm going to tell you why. He ran over to the tent and said, get your butt back out there. And the NFL fined him. Remember we saw the fine? Mm-hmm.
Because he was getting scared.
Yep. Because he was getting nervous and feeling the pressure that I got to win. And I got to win with my guy, which is Dart. Right? And then next thing you know, they lose one more game.
Yep.
And boom, he's gone.
And listen, Dart's play style is going to lead to that.
Because he wants to run around. And
listen... Yeah. And if you're going to, and listen, he's not Josh Allen, obviously, right? But that's what Brian Daboll knows. And Brian Daboll knows how to coach Josh Allen. And now you got Jackson Dart, who's like Josh Allen light in a sense of that he can be a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
And so when you call plays, you put the quarterback in harm's way. But also, that's the best way to utilize Jackson Dart.
You got to have 2 quarterbacks there.
Yeah,
with the same style. Yeah, that's not going to work. If you go just look at the history of the National Football League, running quarterbacks, we could probably name a couple of them that won Super Bowls. And watch this. I'm going to say Russell Wilson runner, but he's really not a runner. He's a scrambler.
Yeah.
He's not a runner back in his heyday.
Right.
Not now. So there's not a lot of them we could say. Even Lamar Jackson, he hasn't even got to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's probably the elite.
And he's got injury issues.
Right. Well, we hamstring running around.
Yeah.
See?
But look about Lamar, too. Like, why has he started winning MVPs and become one of the top guys? Because he's gotten more comfortable and better at sitting in the pocket and making
being
throws.
a passer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just, like, kind of marrying both of those, running and passing.
So everybody wants that college-style player that can run around and do a thing, that you won't last in the National Football League. It's almost impossible. I mean, people are going to take this the wrong way. People are trying to hit people to kill them. I mean, with their human body.
Yeah.
That is, if you don't have that mindset in the NFL, you're not going to make it.
And also when you call a lot of RPOs, right?
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
People's lives are at stake, and they're going to make sure they're on the other end of that.
Well, you're calling a lot of RPOs. That's what the Giants have done to help make him comfortable. When you're calling a lot of RPOs, if he chooses to run, he's putting himself in harm's way. And you've given him that option to choose to run. And he's probably, because he's a rookie, he's going to trust his legs more than he's going to trust his arms in the NFL.
Right.
And it's going to be beneficial.
What can go faster, the ball in the air or you running?
Right.
And that's why that history lesson I just gave you about quarterbacks in the National Football League and who wins Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And that's why you want a pocket passer that can maneuver in the pocket, has a great feel in the pocket, then hopefully all the rest of the things come together.
Right.
Begin, accuracy, more efficient, so those things, and a smart quarterback who is a quarterback truly in brain his whole life.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the running guys, early on, that's great. But then as time goes on, they learn not to run as much and throw the football, as Ross was talking about, like Lamar Jackson. And Josh Allen, by the way, we can add them to the list.
Mm-hmm. Well, just like Cam is on the right side of that. Like y'all just said, he's on the right side. Mm-hmm. He could stand to run a little more, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But to see him be more willing to sit in there and try to make a throw down the field as opposed to just taking off when stuff goes kind of erratic, you love to see that. He doesn't have the line around him to really do that as much as he wants to right now, but they improved the offensive line. Who knows what that looks like in the future?
And listen, let's be honest, right? I know Nick Colts talked about today, but we've talked about it as well, is that, Lloyd Cushenberry is now starting to be further removed from his Achilles injury. J.C. Latham is going to be further removed from his hip injury. Mm-hmm. If those guys start getting healthier, as healthy as you can be in the middle of an NFL season, that helps that they feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more secure in certain moves that they have to make blocks. I mean, the offensive line the last 3 weeks hasn't played the level of defenses that they've seen the first 6 weeks, but they have been better in terms of pass blocking. It's still not good enough. They're still in the low 20s, but they have been better. And so it's all about building and improving for the rest of the way, because if this offensive line can get a feel better, and both for what Cam Ward wants to do back there and a feel for how they're actually truly feeling health-wise, okay, there's some opportunity for growth there for Cam Ward to maybe feel a little bit more secure in the pocket, to maybe make some of the throws that he wants to make. Or
how many sacks did they give up the last game?
Oh, my gosh. 4, if I'm not mistaken. 4. They've given up 38 on the year.
Which is leading the NFL?
Yeah, I believe so. Now, I don't know. I don't know what the sacks were like over the weekend or anything.
Right.
Chargers are putting up a fight to get that number
I was about
one
to say,
they lost both of their tackles.
Yeah.
And Herbert was getting killed against us. He was getting killed against the Steelers, too.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure if Herbert is still the most hit quarterback or not, but I would assume so. Let's go to Keith in Smyrna. Keith, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. I think, so far Cam Ward hasn't looked good, but I think it's crazy to even be talking about considering a quarterback with the first pick or top pick in the draft. I'm a huge Canes fan. I watch every Canes game. We haven't even seen the quarterback that played at Miami last year that was calm and composed and, bringing his team back. They were never out of a game. The only time there's been a glimpse of that this year was the Arizona game, where we had a couple of drives down the end where they were playing prevent to kind of keep us, not give up the big plays. But you saw a little bit of it there where, he had some pace and some rhythm. We were going hurry up, and he was making some great throws and kind of picking the defense apart. But he hasn't played great, and I think a lot of that is, the pressure, the lack of, protecting him on the offense, and doesn't have a lot of time. Our receivers don't have a lot of, separation. And so I think you build around him, right? You got to give him a couple of years and I think we'll see that he's more than capable of, making better decisions as the game slows down for him a little bit.
I agree, Keith. I mean, I think we both, or all three of us, would say that, and we have, that he's been very inconsistent and hasn't played very well on a week-to-week basis. But also, some of that is rookie growth and rookie growing pains. Some of that is his surroundings, and some of that is just playing against some really good defenses at the start of the year. Yeah, so it's a rough recipe for the first few weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about looking at the schedule, because you were looking at the defense. You go, man, this is going to be a tough start for you.
And then there's been a lot of drops, too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And not just drops from the receivers, but drops out of his hands.
On his part, too. So it's been a combination. But to give up on him at this point, I think that's ridiculous. I think people just equate winning and success, and that means you're doing well, and losing means you're not. And I think they also look at Dart. And I think they say, well, Dart's doing well. Well, they're not winning games either, but he looks like he is better. I mean, in theory. So I think he needs to definitely improve, but I think they're okay with where he's at. He just now we're going down the stretch of the end. Now let's see where he goes from here. To me, after a bye week, I think this is a time where we'll start seeing some of these young players, let alone Cam Ward, that have been playing, start making steps, or will they hit the rookie wall?
Yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Top Tier says in the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, says these new age fans would have tried to run McNair out of town.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No doubt. Mm-hmm. All right, coming up next, we'll go all things Tennessee Titans with Coach Mack for Weekly Mac Attack, brought to you by Tours Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. You know what that music means. It's Tuesday. It's time for our weekly Mac Attack with Coach Mac, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. And Coach Mac, I know that we don't cover the New York Giants, but Brian Daboll gets fired, and it's another head coach in a long list of head coaches that gets fired mid-season of a rookie year's quarterback that they just drafted in the first round. Are we at a situation where there is an NFL quarterback development problem where it's the a team fails the quarterback more than a quarterback fails the team?
Well, I think it's, you're looking at this society now. It's an instant gratification type of a thing. And, of course, it is Daboll's fourth year, correct?
Yeah.
His fourth year, they drafted quarterback, in the first round. And there are probably a lot of factors that go into it. But, life in the National Football League for coaches and players, I mean, everybody thinks it's very glamorous. I mean, not too many normal humans would like to live under that pressure. I promise you that.
When it comes to the bye week, I mean, Elikai Manor, Chimere Dike, Cam Ward are three of the rookies who have played a lot of snaps through the first 9 weeks of the season. The bye week seems to have come at a good time. What are some of the benefits to having the bye week pretty much smack dab in the middle of the season for not just your young players, but for all of your players?
Well, I mean, it's just the wear and tear on the players' bodies. I mean, that's what you look for. Ideally, you'd like it about in the middle. You don't really want it, towards the end, because then, I mean, you've gone through a really grueling season. And, I mean, look, one year when I was a head coach, we had our bye week the first week of the season. That's not what you want either, So you want it about in the middle because, I mean, there's a 100% chance that you're going to have people hurt. That's just the National Football League. And so when you get a chance about midway through to everybody take a breath, because there's nobody out there that's playing completely healthy, but at least they can get some rest because, I mean, their body needs rest, especially now, playing 17 games.
What are some things that you think that the Tennessee Titans offense needs to have improved upon by the time they come back, and you need to start seeing some improvement with them towards the end of the season?
Well, I mean, there's not a magic wand that you wave to do it at all. I mean, it's still going to be, it's a work in progress. But I mean, offensively, you need to be able to string together series and stay on the field and stay ahead of the chains. When you really start breaking the numbers down that you do every week, and then that off the open date gives you a chance to look at it in totality. Way, way, way too many third and double digits to have any kind of success. And third down success has not been good, and it relates directly to first and second down non-success. So that would be the start of it, and being able to run the football a little more consistently. Everybody talks about the passing game, but in the National Football League, you still have got to be able to do two things in the NFL football. You've got to be able to run the football on a consistent basis, and you've got to be able to stop the run on a consistent basis. If you're lagging in either one of those departments, you put yourself in a hole most ball games.
We're talking all things Tennessee Titans with Coach Mac for his weekly Mac Attack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Well, Coach, what would have been your message to the team, let alone the young players, really, during the bye week and then coming back?
Well, I mean, first of all, you need some time. I mean, you did it for a lot of years. You need some time to get away. You need to get away and just let yourself heal both mentally and physically. But then, don't get too far removed from it, because you're going to be expected to hit the ground running when you come back. I mean, it's not like you get a week or two to ramp up when you come back from the open date. So you need, and then everybody on their own individual basis, where are you physically? Where are you physically? And you've been in the league long enough now that you either know or should know how to take care of your body when you are not playing and getting prepared to play, or you should be cognizant of the fact that there's people you can ask to help you do that, because that's a huge, huge part of it, is understanding how important your daily maintenance of your body is when this is your profession.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, with Coach Mac giving us some Mac Attack. And, Coach, what are you guys doing, the coaches, during the bye week? Because sometimes you dig a little deeper into the numbers, what you've been doing, and maybe come back and find out maybe we should be doing some other things or not as much as one thing or another.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you self-scout after every ball game every week, but this gives you a chance, taking a break like you have now, to look at it as a holistic approach. I mean, there's some things that you thought may have been what you wanted to try to do, or what may have been a strength to start the season that has proven not to be. And plus, you should know your team better by now, things that they can do and things that they can't do. And, that's not a matter of failure. It's just a matter of realizing, what is successful, and then, don't keep running your head into a brick wall trying to make, square pegs fit into round holes. You should have a pretty good idea by this time of the season.
Now, Coach, when you say that, let's just use wide receiver as position and say, this guy doesn't run the slant the way we really like. So do you put someone else in to run the slant, or do you kind of coach him a little bit harder on how to run it when you've seen that he's not as precise as you want at this point in time? Maybe not the best example, but that's what I'm just trying to, how do you kind of, instead of going to another player or a different player, how do you decide if you want to use the player or a different one?
Well, that's a little bit of what I'm talking about, Blaine. You start looking at route combinations. How can I get this guy on the move, or how can I do something with him? He's a guy that maybe what we've asked him to do early on in some route combinations is not exactly doesn't fit him, but there's other things that he can do. Find out what they can do, because everybody that's playing has a strength. Mm-hmm. They have a strength, and everybody that's playing has a weakness. Try to accentuate the strengths.
Got you, Coach. Now, I watched a little bit of the Texans. I saw Mr. Mills. I think they were over in Germany or somewhere, wherever it was. And he was playing quarterback against the Jaguars, right? And, I was like, I think the Texans won the game and came back. What have you seen on film, and do they look different without C.J. Stroud with the Texans, who the Titans play next, right?
Well, that was a big comeback that they had there in Berlin. But Davis Mills is not an empty chair. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a veteran player. He's a veteran quarterback. And plus, a little bit of that had to do with the failures of Jacksonville, too. I mean, you let a quarterback run like that to hit the pylon. I mean, and again, it goes down to the fundamentals, regardless of who's playing quarterback. You've got to be able to keep the guy and to be able to squeeze him in the pocket. And that fell completely apart for the Jaguars down the stretch.
Well, Coach, how much has the development of quarterbacks, and some having a lot of success early on and some not, kind of spoiled fan bases to get instant gratification out of the quarterback position, thinking everybody's going to be like Jaden Daniels or all these other quarterbacks that had success, when others may, falter a little bit in that first year, maybe not having the best team around them. How do you kind of contain the expectations of what we should see and the development of a quarterback with maybe not the best surrounding pieces around them?
Yeah, well, the expectations for anybody in this league is to win. But different circumstances present themselves differently. And young quarterbacks, especially, high draft picks, they've got a huge spotlight on them. And look, I spent most of my career, I was a defensive signal caller. If I had a young quarterback, I tried to ruin him. You tried to ruin him. You're not trying to have him have success. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And so that's where you've got to have a strong front office and a strong belief in what's going on. And it's not only that you surround the quarterback, but the quarterback, has to go through some very trying times. I mean, it's just historically, even if they start off hot, you're looking for consistency is what you're looking for in this league, especially at that quarterback position.
No doubt about it. We're in with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, obviously Kevin Winston Jr. is probably in line to see a more increased role with the departure of Quandre Diggs. We don't know Xavier Woods' health status right now. But with Kevin Winston Jr., kind of tell people what you saw, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but when you went through the draft, what you saw from Kevin Winston's draft prospect film and what you kind of project the best role for him might be here at the NFL level.
Well, I think he's an all-around safety. He really is. He's a big guy that can run. He's a hitter. He's a hitter. He can find the football. I mean, he can close space. He's pretty instinctive. If this guy, had stayed healthy, he'd have been a much higher draft pick. I mean, he's got all the intangibles, everything that you look for. But he's coming off of a pretty significant ACL injury, and that's why he was drafted as to where he was. But as far as to what I saw before he got hurt, I mean, I thought he was a premium safety. That once he gets his feet on the ground in the league, he's going to be okay.
When it comes to this defense, explosive plays, obviously some of it is, of course, missed tackles and stuff like that. When you're a defense and you're going in for that self-scouting during the bye week as a defensive coordinator, how are you, with the pieces that you have, trying to limit explosive plays? Because obviously it's not all just missed tackles, but of course you're with Denard Wilson, the cupboard's a little bit bare. But you're the head coach of the defense, so to speak. You got to get the most out of these players you can. So how do you limit explosives going forward this last few weeks?
Well, I mean, it goes game to game, and the first thing you try to do when you game plan against people, with your people is who's the most dangerous to us, and how our teams getting explosives. Teams get explosives in different ways. I mean, Indy's getting explosive handing the ball to the running back. Other people get explosives by being able to run the ball and have excellent play action, and there's one player. So you always start in defensively when you start game planning people. Who are their weapons? Who are they winning with? Who is their go-to? And then how do we take that away, and how do we work everybody else around it? I mean, it just depends on who you're playing against, and you bring up a good point. It's who you're playing with, too.
When you see this team right now, obviously Jeffrey Simmons is coming back. Calvin Ridley is hopefully coming back. What can those two players, and even Xavier Woods to a lesser extent, what can those players kind of provide the team coming out of the bye if they're available over, this Sunday?
Well, anytime you got veteran players that are proven in this league, I mean, it's a plus when they're on the field. I mean, that's just life in the National Football League. That's why, veteran players are very, very important, and then you fill in with young players. This football team, has had to play young players in critical roles, from the start. And that's where you are. When you completely are rebuilding a team, you got young players, and if you've got young players, then they're going to make mistakes that they won't make that second and third year. But when you have veteran players like that, when they're on the field, you're better.
With play action passes and the Tennessee Titans, they've kind of increased those the last few weeks. But it's also how important is it for the quarterback's footwork to be on those play action passes when they're, attempting the fake, but also trying to reestablish themselves behind an offensive line that has kind of had its up and downs, and you have that's a longer developing pass play.
Play action passes first stem off of your run game. If you don't have a viable run game that's threatening the defense, I coached a lot of defense in this league, and I wasn't going to take an eye fake of a play action pass that comes off of a run fake if they can't run the ball. That's number one. So it starts back at the base part of it that we talked about earlier. You got to be able to run the football on a consistent basis. Put especially your second and your third level players and your edge players in a 50-50 strut, and don't let them just play one aspect of your game. They have to respect the run game. If they don't respect the run game, then play action pass is just going through the motions.
Oh man, I had another question. I just forgot what it was. Okay, go ahead.
That's why you come together. Naturally, this is an AFC South opponent. Still kind of wide open to a certain extent outside of the Colts, of course. How important as a coach are you emphasizing, setting the expectation, especially playing at home when you haven't won a home game in a while here at Nissan Stadium?
Well, it's critical for this football team to win a game and to win a home game. But, the division games are big. You've already played these people once. They beat you one time down there at their place. You should be very familiar with them. You know what their strengths are. Yeah, I mean, I'm putting together the things that I do for our broadcast and putting together the things that I do for television going into this game. I mean, now you know who the threats are. So that familiarity is what makes, division games even deeper that the coaches dig into on both sides of it, because you have to figure out, here's what they did to us before. Now, are they going to do the same thing, or are they going to give us an eye fake and do one thing and do another? But the personnel. It's all about personnel matchups in this league. You know the people now. You know who you're playing against, and you know what your individual matchups are too.
Speaking of matchups, they have Stingley, one of the better corners in the National Football League. How does our receiving core, let's hope that Ridley's back, match up against their secondary of the Texans?
Well, it depends on what the flow of the game is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're within one score, it's very favorable. If you get a 2-score separation, I mean, it really doesn't matter. So it depends on what the flow of the game is. I mean, you'd like to have everything for 4 quarters on an equal footing, and that way that you can play the chess game back and forth.
Gotcha.
There you go. There you have it. That's Coach Mack for his weekly Mac Attack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted dealer. Coach Mack, let's hope for a win on Sunday against the Texans.
Well, hope's not a strategy.
That is true.
Play better. Let's do that.
For sure. All right. Thanks, Coach Mack. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Coach.
See you guys.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the latest head coaching odds of the Tennessee Titans head coaching search, but also there is a certain player in the AFC South that is out for the season. It's a pretty huge deal for the Tennessee Titans and unfortunate for the other team. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 104.5 The Zone.
Well, the holiday season is right around the corner. Enjoying holiday parties, but don't gain all that holiday weight there, Ross. So the approach to weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is different. We make sure all patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversation in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. And Edge walks you through this process, guiding you through the treatment, answering questions, supporting you along the way. So you enjoy access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you are maintaining your muscle mass. You get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check. And I know I have those. Prioritize protein and have someone guide you through your journey from start to finish. And all you have to do to make sure you enjoy those holidays is call Edge Peptide today at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878 or edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. All right. Got some breaking news here. And this comes from the Jacksonville Jaguars themselves. Earlier today, wide receiver / defensive back Travis Hunter underwent successful surgery to repair an isolated lateral collateral ligament, LCL, injury in his right knee. Beyond the LCL, there was no additional damage to the knee. Hunter will miss the remainder of the 2025 season, but is expected to return within 6 months to full football activities. Tough break for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know that the general manager, obviously, he traded up a lot of draft capital to make sure, they could get him. And I know there were mixed reviews on should they be doing both sides of the football? Should they start him out wide receivers? Should they do just defensive back? But at the end of it sucks. I feel for the rookie, but I also feel for, sometimes an LCL injury at the beginning of your year, at the rookie year, or any kind of injury in your rookie year can kind of derail the rest of your career. I don't think that's going to be the case here, but it does bring up the usage element and discussion again with Travis Hunter. Does he really need to be playing both sides from here on in? Because that seems like it's going to put a lot of strain on everything at this point. What are your thoughts, Blaine?
Yeah, well, I said before I would just play him on offense.
Yeah.
Maybe spot play him on defense. Obviously, they didn't want to do that. And he didn't either. He wanted to play both sides of the ball. So, the LCL, I was just kind of looking that up. I thought you could not have surgery on that, let it heal. So I was trying to figure that out.
I think you can if it's depending on the kind of tear it is or damage it is.
Oh, well, I was trying to look and see.
It said he'll be back in 6 months. So
but
terrible.
he was saying that it was, you
it's
normally you wouldn't have to have surgery.
Let it heal on its own. I don't know the extent of his surgery. Obviously, they needed to have surgery, but and how that would impact him. But this is that's why the NFL is so different than college, and not too many people have been able to even spot play in two positions, whether it's just DB or returner or spot playing at receiver. So I always thought he was going to be a receiver in my mind, because when the ball's in his hands, that's when he's at his best. Super athletic, long, rangy, but he wasn't built durable. That's where you kind of look at him. And I even watched him play, make some tackles, and I was a little concerned just him making tackles, to be honest. It's kind of play the way this could be a blessing in disguise for him personally, because now they may just leave him on offense when he comes back, because they're saying it's a little too much. So when you kind of play it by ear, and then I would have spot play him. So maybe they won't spot play him next year and just let him be a wide receiver. I think that's where his biggest impact, and he's still gonna make a slew of money. Now you're talking about messing with his second contract when he hasn't even finished 1 year. See, that's where you're trying to get to with a player like him going that high, get to that second contract. How do you do that? You avoid injuries. Well, how do you avoid injuries? Don't play on both sides of the ball. This is the goal of every player. And by the way, his agent too.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate, but I'm glad he won't be playing versus the Titans. They got 2 games versus them still. They haven't played them.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Ross said he was looking forward for him to get a pick 6 and a receiving touchdown against the Titans.
I didn't say pick 6. I said touchdown and a pick.
Man.
But I'm in a little different camp than you guys are.
Well, I'm the only one that said that. Yeah, I don't know.
As far as Travis Hunter's usage goes, I agree that he shouldn't be playing like full time both sides of the ball. But watching some of their games, I feel like he didn't play as much as he should have. And that's not saying both sides of the ball. That's saying like there were some games where he didn't play at all on defense, or played like 5 snaps or so, but he didn't play that much on offense either. I'm like, if you're going to prioritize him as a receiver, like he should be out there in every set that has 2 receivers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see that already. They're telling you right there that maybe he wasn't grasping, most of the offense and defense because of splitting meeting time. And it gets super serious when the regular season starts. And that's where everybody thinks it's the same in training camp. Well, they're putting in base fundamentals of plays, not the actual plays you're going to be running during the season, besides your fundamental plays that you always have your base plays for all the games. So there's a different game plan, and I used to get a little perturbed because we had guys that you just put 10 new plays in on defense and nobody knows the checks to them, and some of the guys would, but everybody's not going to know the checks to every formation that they bring to us in these new defenses that we put in or new offenses, and it would cause a problem. And I said, I'd rather run, because the coordinators would come to the leaders and say, hey, what do you think? And I go, hey, man, half the guys are not going to know what to do when a guy motions on this, because we've never run this before in our life. Great if they don't move. The offense.
Right.
But they start moving and checking, and I'm checking. They're going to look at me like they don't know what to do. And I'd rather just do something we know, and guess what? They know what we're doing, and guess what? We're confident when we'll swarm to the ball and we'll make a play. So that's what you go through when you have a veteran team. And we weren't like that in the beginning, but as time went on, that became an issue, because you start seeing how some teams game plan, and you want to tweak what we do against what other teams did and was successful. So it's a copycat league, and you just try to do that, but you may not have the same personnel.
Tennessee Titans next head coaching odds, because we had talked about it earlier in the show.
Let Ross guess.
Okay, so DraftKings Sportsbook is out, and this comes from Covers.com. So DraftKings Sportsbook, who do you think's number one?
Matt Nagy.
That is correct. Plus 400 odds. That's the best odds. Who do you think is the next best odds, though? Because I've already told Blaine all this. So who do you think is the next best odds?
Can I get is it someone that's been a head coach before, or no?
It is. Did that really help?
Mike McCarthy?
No, it is not. It is Art Smith.
Okay,
is number
that
2.
Sense.
Plus 500. Who do you think's number 3?
Oh, I don't know, Zach.
Don't get mad at me.
No, that's why I asked you
these questions.
He told me no, it's no. I wouldn't know either. Just guess.
I'm gonna take a gamble and say Mike McDaniel.
No, actually, he's not on the list.
Cliff Kingsbury was the guy?
Kingsbury, number 3. And then it goes. Then it was Joe Brady and Mike McCarthy tied at plus 800.
Oh.
Brian Flores at plus 850. Then Clint Kubiak, Robert Saleh, Todd Monken, Jim Schwartz, Eddie George at plus 1400. Oh, Mike McDaniel was on here, plus 1600.
Okay, so he's in the back.
Yeah, he's in the back with Mike Kafka, Marcus Freeman, and Jesse Minter.
Marcus Freeman making it. How about
Marcus Freeman making it.
No, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that. Marcus Freeman.
And that's a guy, Notre Dame. Apparently, there's a big Notre Dame to New York Giants pipeline. Notre Dame players, a lot of crossover and stuff, and Marcus Freeman's a name up there. So it'll be interesting to see how that all goes. But Matt Nagy, best odds. And I know it's a simple connection to make, because it is, Kansas City Chiefs driven. But those relationships and those connections are simple to make, because they, more often than not, lead to the actual decision coming true.
Now, I know you've done some history, because we had a little conversation about Matt Nagy. What was his offense like with his time with the Bears?
So I only have read the 2018 book, and there's only a 2018 book. I wish this guy did books for every year for every team, but he doesn't. And I can understand why, because it's like a 400-page book, and he only does probably like 5 or 6 offensive studies. But what I thought was interesting the most about Matt Nagy's offense was that one play, all the receivers are running, whatever routes they're supposed to run. Mm-hmm. But in that play, it wasn't progressions high to low, low to high, right to left, outside to inside, whatever have you. It was Mitch Trubisky.
Callahan.
Yeah, which is what we assume based on what Callahan has said. But it is, if it's 2 high safety, here's where you go. If it's 1 high safety, here's where you go. If the middle linebacker's quarterback spying, here's where you go. He plans for what the defense is going to do to help his quarterback have an easy read, to recognize, okay, post-snap, here's my rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I know where to go.
Eliminate the process right off the bat.
Here's my reads for that. And then what I also liked about, because I never really saw this with Brian Callahan again, and of course we're coming up against a break, there'll be plenty of time to talk about all the different coaching candidates and what they do to help their quarterbacks. But what I also liked was when Mitch Trubisky started getting, quote unquote, rattled in a game, or, start getting in over his skis, he would call a set of plays called his get right plays, get back to normal plays. And these were plays that were typically RPOs to get his quarterback into a rhythm, because he was all about rhythm and timing and all this kind of stuff. And that to me is the hallmark of a good head coach, a good play caller, and a good offensive coordinator all rolled into one person. Now, obviously, it wasn't all pretty all the time, but that helped them get to 12-4 with Mitch Trubisky in the second year of a quarterback's.
I like that he's talking about reading the safeties because, as our man Blaine Bishop knows, safeties tell what the coverage is every single time.
Every time. And he had a plan to go with the ball on every pass play wherever he needed to go.
That language there.
Yeah.
I do. Because now you're eliminating the process, especially for a young quarterback.
Yeah. Making it easy for them. And that's the whole point of these young quarterbacks and why some teams fail young quarterbacks more often than not. They don't make it easy for the young quarterback. All right. That will do it for us. Great to be back. The whole gang was here. It was awesome. We'll be back tomorrow. 3HL's coming up next. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace. Ross!